You were plugged in.
Because I can't hear anything in the headphones.
Turn me up.
About,
in the
oh, there we go.
How about
Yeah,
there?
that's
Yep, you
much
good? Too high? Good?
A little bit.
Well, I'm going to turn you up because I think you're yelling.
Yeah, could be.
Just a second. We're all going to kind of talk. Okay, so now that we're all here.
Welcome to another episode of the American Beer Review Podcast.
Good times with good friends requires good beer. Lucky for us, we know how to pick all three.
We're a group of friends who grew up in the Pacific Northwest, giving us a jump start on our craft beer journey.
Join us today while Brian,
Alec,
And Chad.
review some beer, talk about beer topics, and whatever else comes up. We invite you to pour yourself a drink and hang out with us.
All right, back with...
I'm a little disappointed in myself. I didn't wear my Aslan sweatshirt I normally wear.
Right? So I have lots of questions about this.
Yeah.
You want to run through what we're about to drink and...
What's the deal with it?
What's the deal with it? Yep.
Yeah, so...
and I'll start pouring.
Yeah, there's been a few different breweries who've come up with this, but it's hop water. So this is, it's just seltzer water with hops in it. So it's definitely
From who?
This
Or
is
did
from
you already say?
Aslan.
Okay,
Aslan
sorry.
Brewing in Bellingham, Washington. I've seen some different variations of it. This is the first one I think I finally bought and tried. And so I just was very
Throw the can your way.
uncertain about it and interested in getting some other people's opinions. I had one a few days ago. It's part of it for me is my trying to balance out some nights of not just drinking beer.
Right.
And I've heard from some people as a way to this is kind of a nice way to do that. Some of you've gotten into it. What are you? So it pours clear. It's literally seltzer water. I mean, there's
it's seltzer
tinge of color to it, but not much.
I'm getting a little bit of hops. What's the? Hand me the can. Let me see if I guessed right in my head.
I was looking at it too. I didn't see hop varietals on there.
No.
If I know what.
That's one of the things I did wonder
hops
about.
I used.
It would have been kind of fun to have different varieties of them, but this just says they use whole cone hops. It doesn't say.
Okay.
What
Because I'm getting Chinook on the nose.
It's a piney. It's a piney hop for sure. I'm not that nuanced to figure out exactly which one it is, but
then it's very mellow. It's almost I'm almost getting very hint of lime.
So there's some
after drinking it
that includes some flavors. I know I think Lagunitas has a pretty big version of this that they do some flavors with. I just couldn't decide. So I've mostly had it. The couple times I had it is when I was I haven't been drinking. It was my instead of opening a beer with dinner, I had this, and I wouldn't say I didn't love it, but I do kind of wonder if maybe in the midst of a few beers, if I threw one in, if it'd be a better kind of vibe to it than just
glass of water.
Yeah, basically it's a hop water, it's just
Or beer pong.
Well, that's cheating.
If everybody's playing the same way, it's not cheating.
This is the dunk water. We just have to have it closer to beer stuff.
It's good enough that I think you would be wasting it if this
I
was your
agree.
dunk cup.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I concur. This would be a good sitting at the bar if instead of water. It's still technically water, but if you were in the middle of a bunch of IPAs and you didn't want to upset your palate.
But I just
No, it's very drinkable, and it is not just a water. It does. You at least feel like you're on the same palate as a beer,
and that's why I think it's more probably than that. It's probably more for the non-drinker, the person who's taking a break.
Yeah, so this is. I don't even see the. Let's see. So I got into seltzer waters or sparkling waters over the last couple of years.
You were an early adopter.
Yeah. So, and then some of the flavored seltzer waters, but I'm not big on the overly flavored ones. A little bit more on a LaCroix. But the ones that I drink will be it's a hint. It's not a flavored sparkling water. It's a little hint. And this fits a lot more in the. I'm going to have to justify how I'm having it in the middle of the day as I'm driving it around.
If you're driving around drinking a hop water, and you get out for a meeting and they're
Right.
why do you smell like hops?
But it's super drinkable. I like it.
Yeah, I think it's a fun thing to just kind of swap out and see. I don't know where it fits. It runs about $8 or $9 a 6-pack.
Okay, that was gonna be my question. What the price was?
Yeah,
That's pretty reasonable compared to.
The other sparkling waters, the liquid
Mhm.
deaths and things like
yeah.
that.
It's
in
a
the ballpark.
LaCroix.
They're smaller cans,
It's
but
cheaper, or it's more expensive than like a LaCroix because
Right.
those are like 8-packs for like $4.
yep.
But it's 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 alcohol. Hydrate with hops.
Yeah,
That's
something to
their-
drink.
Yeah, I mean it's. Yeah, I just thought I'd bring it. It seems kind of fun, different thing.
Good. It is a beer podcast, and it's very beer adjacent.
Just
so.
very
Yes.
beer adjacent. So
Yes.
yeah, I don't know that we've. I don't know if we actually reviewed any Aslan stuff, so we might have to.
I don't think we've talked about them as far as like a
Mhm.
Bellingham
Yeah.
brewery, but I don't know that we've had any of their stuff on.
Yeah, we'll have to.
We'll be proven wrong and told that we've reviewed them like 3 separate times
Right.
at this point. But
I know. Or we just go and sit at the patio or the depot and
Yeah,
do a live one
actually
sometime.
get off our asses and go up to Bellingham.
one
Get our
day.
asses to Bellingham.
let's get some
at some point.
sunshine first.
Yeah, dude.
So
Dude.
we had snow again this morning.
I'm going to California this week.
There you go.
I hope you have better luck than when I went to Arizona last week and we had rain. It was rain in the 60s.
Yeah.
We had one day that we maybe hit 70, and then as soon as the week I leave, 80 degrees and sunny.
It does seem like that's what it is. It's gotten closer and closer. It's trending better and better, and now we're looking at like by our second to last or last day, it's like low to mid 80s.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
California's just been garbage this year as far as weather. But even it's been garbage here for weather. It's just been an off year.
Yeah, I mean it's hailed and or snowed for the last 2 days.
Yep.
It's just wild to.
Well, they had to delay opening game of the Padres game in San Diego because of the rain. It was really supposed to.
I mean, I guess for some reason I was like they delayed only because of rain, but you're right. They do delay when it's like a lot of rain. I don't know
No,
why. I
Baseball
guess
doesn't
I've
play
been,
in the rain.
I know. I guess I've just been
Yeah.
watching too much like soccer or something that I was
Yeah.
like, wait a second.
Well, and up here we got the roof.
And I think that's we
Yeah.
also are a little like
Versus it rains in San Diego and everybody
loses their
shrivels
shit.
like they're made of
Loses their
sugar.
mind, yeah.
yeah. Well, and that's been all my friends from California. Just like it's been wild to hear them deal with that. How was
Spring training.
Yeah, none of us have been to spring training before. I think.
So we did. We ended up doing 4 games. We caught, I believe it was 2 Mariners games because there's like
Like a multi-complex.
there's multiple different stadiums,
Yeah.
but they're all in different cities outside of Phoenix. So like one day,
Oh.
our last day when we caught 2 games, it was an hour Uber in between the stadiums.
Ooh.
So we went and caught a game, and then we caught the Mariners game. They were playing down at Goodyear at the Cincinnati Reds, their home, and we shellacked them like 14-1. And
There were
then
there were some brutal spring training scores this year.
and then like as soon as I get home, the article comes out that the Cincinnati Reds, their third highest player on their payroll is Ken Griffey Jr. at like $3 million. He's
They're
still
still
getting
paying him?
residuals. So then it clicked for me. I was like, oh, that's why they were a dumpster fire. They just have nobody on their team, and I felt really bad when we were heckling these poor Reds players who just
They're like,
They're-
man, I'm barely
They
making it.
should be playing, yeah.
they are on
Double
the
A
team.
ball.
They are on the team that the Reds ownership built to be terrible this year. I
Jeez.
felt bad, but a great experience. Kind of struck out in the weather, but it was a great trip. The crew I was with, guys from Central,
Nice.
kind of a precursor trip because the last guy got on board the week before. We're all going to Oktoberfest in September.
Nice.
So
Like actual Oktoberfest in Germany.
in Germany,
Yep.
like the first day we found out, kind of got the little itinerary. I have to go to a Lederhosen fitting.
Nice.
Wait, here or there?
There, I'm gonna land in
You
Germany.
get
They're
an
gonna
authentic Lederhosen?
you're gonna wear the Lederhosen. You're
Is
gonna
it
work-
like is it rental Lederhosen or is it are you
apparently
dude if
I'm going with the flow on this. I've always been
Alright, alright.
you guys know I've been the mother hen for years on
Yeah.
trips and stuff. Now I'm
What?
just I'm going with the flow. Hey,
all right.
fit me for the Lederhosen, great. I'm gonna get hot boy summer.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in great
It'll be
shape.
the tail end of it. Yeah.
Fantastic shape. And then they're working on getting us in tent. because you want to be like
Oh,
the
yeah,
big
yeah,
thing I
yeah.
told you want to be in a tent because that way you have a seat for the day.
Yeah.
Because if
Okay.
you're not in a tent, then you're just stuck
Kind of
having
wandering.
to like wherever you can find a purchase to get a big old stein of beer.
All right.
So, kind of teasing. If the podcast lasts that long, there will be an Oktoberfest special.
Well, and you were saying before Brian got here, was it's almost table beers,
Yes.
session beers.
Yeah, it's like
kind of the go-to over there. So you're not hitting.
Yeah, so you're in like the 2s and 3s, so you're just drinking that beer all day, and
Not
then
bad.
I was warned never unless you're feeling your oats, you never try to chug your beer because then once you do that, everyone in the tent knows you want to chug your beer, and if you don't finish your stein of beer, you are shamed and heckled as the guy who cannot put up or shut up.
Oh,
the entire trip I'm just gonna be lying low
Yeah.
because
I'm not a chugger, so
yeah,
it's just never worked out well for me.
No,
it never really does.
Well, and it's just like
Sometimes it's a waste of beer because the beer just comes right back up
Oh.
because your body's like, nope, there's no room for this. Sorry,
well,
no.
Listen, I know you were going to
closing
talk
on-
about like beer ponging or beer bonging at like 22 years old.
Right.
Man, we are well past that.
closing on
There's-
40. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't need anywhere
No.
near
I think
that.
we've talked about it before, but I think the last time I tried to chug a beer was one of my failed. I tried to shotgun a beer for the failed Dude's Giving Challenge when it was
Oh, a
during
couple
COVID,
years ago. Yeah,
and we had to do all the challenge. I think Cam looked at the challenges and was like, "No, I'm not doing that."
I think I won by default because I was the only one able to
like,
complete all
finish.
3 of the
Yeah.
tasks. Yeah.
Yeah, I struggled with. I think it was the flip cup that I struggled with or something. I don't remember, but it was bad. Yeah, that's cool though. That should be a fun trip.
No, definitely a fun trip. Hopefully get some good content. Maybe a full episode, or we may just kind of drip feed it once I get back and
Pepper some
see,
stuff in.
see what we do.
That'd be cool.
We got some beer news today.
Got a little bit of beer news.
I actually read through most of these.
Which
Which one do you want to start with?
I want to start with the Corona Hard Seltzer.
Good. This was
Judgment because I figured that was going to be a little more in your wheelhouse, or
my wheelhouse
or you would have some. I think
You
you'd
you
have
love
some opinions.
Corona.
Yeah.
and seltzer apparently.
Well, because it's so basically it sounds like, but AB InBev has been fighting Constellation Brands, the people who own Corona,
Is
yes.
it AB
So-
InBev or was it?
Well, it was like-
Modelo Grupo.
it was AB InBev suing whatever company wants to bring Corona Seltzer in.
Constellation has
Yes.
Corona,
is trying to sell Corona and Modelo hard seltzers.
Yes.
but Modelo Grupo owns
Yes.
the brands,
Yes.
and they sued Constellation saying we license beers to you. Seltzers are not beers.
Yeah.
You don't have the right to put our labels or our brand names on the hard seltzers.
Yeah.
Thank
if I
you
read
for
that right.
explaining it,
Yeah, I think
because
so.
I was totally off
No,
base.
And the courts basically said, it's very hazy definition of what's a beer, and it's technically is a malt beverage, so
Right.
they can continue selling it. They're licensing your.
So essentially, seltzer legally is not beer.
I read it the other way around.
It's a malt beverage.
Yes, but so it falls under. So Constellation's still able to sell the Corona, whatever Modelo seltzers. But yeah, the issue at point was whether or not it's a beer.
Huh.
Because they had agreements like you can sell this beer, but you can't.
And I forget what it was.
And it was like
Though
they were trying to class the seltzer. Oh, hey, the seltzer we want it classed as beer, so you can't sell it here. But now the judge said seltzer is not beer; it's a malt beverage. It's not part of this agreement, so they can sell it.
other way around.
Was how I okay.
So it's not beer, but it is
It's close
a
enough to.
flavored malt beverage.
Mhm.
So, and that was in the wording of their contract
Oh, okay,
of licensing.
okay.
So, Constellation won the right to continue selling it,
Even though they don't get it from Modelo Group out of Mexico
and they haven't. They've been brewing it in the U.S. and
Yeah,
whatever
under a
for-
license agreement.
Under a
Yeah.
license agreement, but
So this also brings up a beverage we talked about the other day. What if your beverage is made out of milk? So now is it beer or is it a malt beverage, or is it something else entirely?
I don't know. You guys tried to feed me milk beer earlier. And I'm
You had
Oh,
some of
that's
it
I did, and you know what? My stomach does not thank you.
already.
Yes.
That was probably the one that actually had legit lactose in it. I don't- that does I
It hurt my little brain.
Yeah,
'cause
and that's where I
I-
like I'm feeling the same way with that. To me, it's like so it's basically about like the amount of malt and stuff in it. But listen, I'll tell you this. I'm gonna say this real quick, and then we can get back to it. The main news of this for me was I didn't know that Modelo made ranch water.
They make ranch water.
Yeah,
Oh,
in the article it said Modelo ranch water.
okay. So Grupo Modelo. I got it backwards. Under the agreement, beer is defined as ale, porter, stout, malt beverages, and any other versions or combinations of the foregoing, including non-alcoholic versions. So they licensed all of that to Constellation. AB InBev does own Grupo Modelo, so that's where we got AB
Okay.
InBev versus Constellation. So obviously, AB InBev doesn't want competition in the seltzer space, so they tried to sue and say seltzers are not beer, and the U.S. District Judge determined that the definition of beer is too ambiguous, and so they basically just declined to dismiss.
So basically, it's just continuing.
It's just continuing.
So they were just trying to get it thrown out. So
yeah,
there's
they were
still a
trying
lot
to. Yeah,
going
they were
on.
trying to get the Corona hard seltzers. off
Grupo
the
Modelo
market.
is disappointed. Yeah, Constellation won. So Constellation's going to keep selling.
Yeah.
Which, on a slight side note, and I don't know that this is in that article, for them to still be considered Mexican beers, do they still have to have a certain amount of them? Like does a certain amount of what they make have to be brewed in Mexico?
They don't claim them to be Mexican beers.
Oh,
On their packaging, it's Mexican style.
Yeah.
Lagers.
Oh.
So no, they don't claim to be Mexican beers.
Interesting. I thought one of them did.
I thought Corona did.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought one of them did.
No, because
But-
it's not imported. It's contract brewed in the U.S.
Huh. Well,
That's what it.
learn
That's
something
like,
every day.
that's in the realm of business technicalities for companies that large.
Oh yeah,
Play
this is,
around. with.
Wait, the internet says Corona is imported. The other
Yeah,
ones may not be,
that's-
but Corona says
That's
it's
what I
imported.
thought. Yeah,
Yeah,
at least
I-
one of
I
them
think-
was.
Imported beer from Mexico is what Corona. Now it could be Corona Extra, but one of the Coronas is.
So kind of speaking on AB InBev while we're on this topic, couple
this
been
was
a, been a
kind of
handful,
a scathing.
yeah, a handful of articles, including this one, about how they are now divesting themselves out of the craft brew space, which basically means they are just closing up shop on a lot of
I would say
brewers that they bought up. Like I think the one we read about in here was like they bought them in 2015, and then they are just like, well, we're done. See ya, bye.
now this is my non-financial brain thinking.
Mhm.
Divesting means they're like legit getting rid of them. Like they're getting completely out of craft beer.
No, out
Or
of some of
just-
the brands.
Okay, yes,
Yeah,
and that's what I was just clarifying.
They're shutting the doors on some of
On a
these
yes.
brewers that they
A
bought.
lot of because they went through a phase trying to create basically like a
Buying their way in.
consortium of
Mhm.
owning these small, mid-sized breweries, and making that their like craft portfolio. And so now they're basically looking at, well, we have these certain ones that are larger and functional, and everybody else is just, we're done with you, right?
Yes.
Like any big, once a company gets big enough, it's just a pure dollars in, dollars out. And if these breweries that they bought up weren't making dollars and cents for them, they're just like, well, see you later. There's no worry about, the history of some of these breweries.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, we're done. We're done playing with you, and we're going to go spend our craft dollars somewhere else or put it into seltzer.
Well, and what the article touches on is they had the money, to go in. So they're going and they're buying out these larger scale craft
Mhm.
breweries, right? So they're
Like
buying
an
them out
illusion.
like an Elysian. And then because of their pricing and their distribution model, they're able to edge out, especially in shelf space, a lot of the other craft, not opponents, competitors within that space. And then if they just then turn around and shut down, then not shut down a Legion, but they're shut down
the ones that aren't as big of players.
You've driven out the independents and the craft from that beer aisle, and now you've shut down yours as well. You've just eliminated a craft beer.
That you just fill them in, because that's the thing, is like they're not getting rid of all their craft beer. So those spaces that were held by these smaller ones, they're just going to put more Elysian in there, or more, whatever bigger ones they still hold on to.
We've talked about is been there, like I said, from trade shows and stuff. Is kind of their model right now is focusing on the core, and whether that's core in just Budweiser, but also their cores, and we're going to focus on the top sellers within that craft space, and maybe not go as heavy into the regionalization and the smaller guys that are building kind of their own niche or had their own niche built up in the market. And that's where the criticism comes, is you're going and you're buying out all these things and then shutting them down. You're reducing competition within that space. I didn't realize when I was reading this that they purchased ratebeer.com.
There's a few.
But there's a couple of them.
Yeah.
So I had to go back and make sure who owned Beer Advocate, because that's the one I'll use.
Oh,
and
yeah.
What, the bias is to, so they're getting involved in the reviewing and driving the culture.
I think somebody else owns Beer Advocate.
Yeah, you know who?
Let me guess. Miller Coors.
Nope. It's cooler than that. You use it all the time. So Untapped parent company bought.
Oh,
Beer
yeah.
Advocate.
I do remember that. You're right.
So I felt a lot better about that.
Yeah. I think just the simplicity of the app is the thing that I use Untapped for, but Beer Advocate is definitely more the space for information,
right,
than Untapped. I mean, I get some from there, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah, it's whether you're using a computer or your phone, usually.
Oh, yeah, that's we've talked about it. It's a big deal for me to have to get out a computer, like a personal computer to do something. Like, I'm either doing my budget. No, that's pretty much it. Or when you guys are like, no, this really needs to be done on a computer for whatever reason. I rarely.
When did we tell you that something really has to be done on a computer?
When I was trying to listen to the audio stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's
part of the reason why I wasn't listening to the podcast for a long time. It's because it was a pain in the butt to try and get it on my phone.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah,
but let's get out of some heady business. Let's get into something a little weird.
Okay.
So Jack Daniels had a problem. They were building a new warehouse to store barrels of whiskey to be aged.
Okay.
And apparently there is a fungus that thrives off the angel's share. That
the evaporation.
The evaporation, you got the alcohol in the air. Apparently there is a fungus that loves
Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniels that evaporates so much that this entire town is covered in fungus, which is also topical because The Last of Us is a hit TV show now. Yes. And everybody's worried about mushrooms or fungus taking over.
I don't think anybody's actually worried about that.
No, I'm definitely not.
You guys
entertaining TV show.
It doesn't keep you up at night?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
and Station 11 was a little bit more concerning.
That one's on my to watch list.
Pretty good.
Shocking. We're into another sci-fi.
I've been
media.
I've been mainlining TNG. I've been doing my annual TNG rewatch.
Brian doesn't even know what that means.
I know.
The Next Generation.
Oh, hey, look at that. Yeah, whiskey fungus on steroids.
Have I ever seen anything from it? No, I haven't.
And the problem is the article was free the first time I read it. Now
it's all blacked out now.
Trying to catch up.
That was the basic gist of it. This entire town is now being covered in this black fungus because there's so many barrels of whiskey being aged there. And the town was like, well, you're not going to build another one. And Jack Daniels said, okay, yeah, we agree, but we're going to figure it out so we can do it later.
How much of a hard shift is that to be like, yeah, Look at all this. We're a cool town. We get Jack Daniels, the age stuff here. Wait, what's that?
Now,
What's that? Wait,
it's
where did this come
everywhere.
from?
yeah, like people's entire houses are covered in this black
Jeez.
mauve. Like you walk outside and there's this. It's like another video game like Silent Hill. Same thing.
Yeah.
Like this town was just absolutely obliterated by this supernatural disaster.
So,
Go ahead.
pesticides? We just kill the fungus and move on in our lives?
I don't want pesticides in my liquor.
Well, no,
it's not in the
because
liquor. It's the liquor's in its thing. It's
that would be a fungicide. It's a fungus, not a pest.
good call. How do I get rid of the fungi?
Also,
well, if you don't invite them.
Well,
No, stop.
don't. But also, you just don't let Jack Daniels put another aging warehouse in your town.
Yeah.
But then they just go one town over and put an aging warehouse in? Doesn't the fungus just move?
Yeah.
So
That's
how
how.
do we go to the root cause of this?
How do we stop?
The fungus.
Well, you can't.
What do you mean you can't?
Well, you have to at some point.
Well, I don't know.
We're not going to stop buying Jack Daniels. So
This is just a news topic. I didn't have to find a solution to the problem.
Well, but I buy Jack Daniels whiskey barrels every few years to
for
make the cider in.
Yeah, but you're not building a warehouse to have like a couple thousand.
Yeah, but I don't want
think you're fine.
mushrooms growing in my whiskey barrel that I'm buying from them.
but it's not in the barrel. It's in
And-
the evaporation in the
Yeah, it's a fungus.
Depends
It's a
on
fungus that lives naturally. So if you had a big distillery, it's a problem at distilleries as well, like inside, because most of them. Again, I read this
What you're
article.
telling me is
I
we
read
should-
this. Okay, I read this article a month ago when it was not behind a paywall. So I'm going off my very hazy memory
Memory
of
on it?
this article.
Listen, I'll tell you. When I glanced at it, I thought it was going to be about the Jack Daniels Supreme Court case where they're suing the dog toy company for making.
Dude, I
Saw
read
that.
that. I just read that one. That is wild.
I can't believe it made it all the way to the Supreme Court.
Let's give everybody else listening the backstory.
Oh yeah, so some company made dog toys, and they've got like whole brands of it, but they're all like parodies of real things. And so the dog chew toy basically looks like a Jack Daniels bottle, but it's like
But it was like number two. It was
instead
number
of lucky
two
number
something.
7, it's like stinky number 2 or
Yeah.
something like that. And so Jack Daniels sued them for like copyright infringement. But the idea with that is that it has to be that like the standard customer
Would be confused.
would be confused
Yeah.
and buy the wrong thing.
Right. They're doing measurable harm.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's gonna
They
look
had-
at
So they had this lawyer who went through
yes.
how many years of school had to
I
sit
know.
and go, my client believes I am being harmed by this squeaky dog toy that infers this Jack Daniels is filled with dog poop,
Yeah.
and that the average consumer is going to go, I'm not going to buy Jack Daniels because this dog toy is telling me it tastes like poop,
I don't think
dog poop, because it's stinky number 2.
I don't
That was
think
kind of
really-
that was the gist of it.
drunk Cam online buying Jack Daniels stuff is gonna confuse the dog toy for the actual liquor even. I mean, you've bought some Jack Daniels stuff.
But I'm a brand whore, so I've been on jackdaniels.com. So not
Fair.
happening.
Well,
Fair.
if we're on the liquor, it's the cinnamon whiskey.
Oh,
Fireball.
yeah.
That's the bigger brand damage, and they're doing it to themselves
Yeah, by
is
switching the
to get in. Well, they didn't switch it, but it's to get into the convenience store market.
Did we talk about this or was
What?
that just
That was text.
Yeah, this was,
Was
on
it
text.
really?
Yeah, so this wasn't even on the pod. So
Oh.
they're getting sued by some consumer group
Yeah.
for misrepresenting their own brand because a lot of states, ours in particular, you cannot sell liquor in stores that are under whatever 10,000 square feet or don't have a liquor
Yeah,
license,
yeah.
but you can sell wine-based or malt-based beverage, but you can't have it at
Like a C store.
yeah, it's a C store, but you can't have it at 80 proof.
Oh, yeah,
It's got to
yeah.
be 20% or less or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they came up with a basically knockoff brand because there was I think it was High Point or Flashpoint. It's like a knockoff cinnamon whiskey, but it's wine based. We started propping up in convenience stores. I don't drink it. We sell it. So they were seeing their market share getting eaten away because customers didn't know Fireball was. So the customers didn't know the difference. So they released their own. And now they're going, wait a minute, you're selling me Fireball. That's half the alcohol.
It's like 16% instead of
40.
Yeah. And you're talking, and I think there was like a small thing on it that was like a whiskey flavored beverage or something like that.
Whiskey
that's
flavored malt beverage or something like that.
Yeah, that's the way they got around it or tried to. But yeah,
I don't think it even said whiskey. I think it was cinnamon. It's just all the branding was the exact same. The bottles were
the labels were exactly the same. Yeah,
there was like very
whiskey. It was a cinnamon flavored malt beverage.
So I remember this now because then I texted some other friends who like because we almost always have a bottle of Fireball at tailgate that we'll just randomly like pull out for near the end. Keep yourself warm in the stadium. And basically everybody that I sent it to was from the tailgate group, and they all were like going back to check their own bottles.
Yeah.
But it really is it's predominantly like the airplane bottle size because that's the idea.
And like pint.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So if you're getting small
size.
ones, are doing that. So.
And it's only the ones you're getting at the convenience store. Which look around, guys. How much other liquor are you able to purchase here?
Yeah.
None. You should, but
hey, man, pay attention to what's going on.
They sold like crazy, and then is this the real stuff? I'm like, no, we don't sell liquor in convenience stores in the state of Washington. All right, about time to maybe review a beer.
I think we should review a beer.
I kind of forgot I'm still sipping on the hop water. I kind of forgot that I didn't see, this is how they get you.
That is how they get you.
Yeah.
It's good. I can be nursing a hop water instead.
I will pour this out.
So today,
Thank you, Thor.
out of Moses Lake, Washington, from 10 Pin Brewing.
Yes.
A wonderful little spot that we've kind of watched grown up from an actual bowling alley to a big time production / tap room / restaurants / casino and hotel. I mean,
I forgot about the hotel.
They have had a glow up in the last 10 years.
All right, so I made some notes on this one. I grabbed it. I'll go into the history of why I grabbed it here for today's review in just a second. But a follow up, yes. 10 Pin.
He's literally pulling out his
I do
notes.
actually have it.
This is the 10 Pin Brewing Head Pin IPA coming in at 6.25.
Yeah, so the bowling alley and hotel
Yes.
have been around since the 30s or 40s, like forever.
Yeah, and
in Moses Lake, and they were called I think Lakes Bowl, and then the hotel only changed names to 10 Pin since we've been going to Moses Lake.
it's fairly
So
recent.
it had its own, but 2013 was when they launched 10 Pin. So the brewery is relatively new, and that's what we're talking. So we've been going Moses Lake, I mean, off and on, but we had the house over there starting in the end of 2013.
But we actually went to this bowling alley.
Correct.
When we were high school students.
It was Lakes Bowl.
Yeah, because we were like camping on the lake.
Yes.
And just went into town and went to the bowling alley. So like we've this particular space in Moses Lake has been in our kind of friend story for like 20
plus
years. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, then the brewery pops in there.
The brewery popped in there, and then a couple of years later, they started canning it. And I think that's about when we started seeing it pop up because they had some local distribution.
Well,
we're going over there.
And your dad is like, that's kind of the key thing is like, I know I'm at Potholes because your dad's got cans of 10 Pin everywhere. Like that's his, like when we would bring over beers to go over there, like we're bringing in light beers. Maybe one time we bring in a Natter Day. But like we're drinking like light beers and doing that.
Right.
But your dad is always going to roll out with like
something
they got a
fancier.
pineapple one
Mm-hmm.
that he really dug. Like, so this one, I don't know if you said this is the Head Pin.
Head Pin IPA. So
Head
this
Pin
is like
IPA.
their flagship
Yeah.
one. The first one that they had.
This is the first one I saw in stores.
Yep, and they've had statewide distribution since 2018.
Their branding is like, to me, is pretty on point, and it fits for the whole theme of things. It's almost always the white X, almost covering the whole can, with just some other kind of bright color
right
around it, depending on the beer. with then their X logo, 10-Pin Brewing, and doing it. So you can almost always tell from a distance when there's a 10-pin beer.
It's so simple, but so on the nose for their brand, because obviously they're going whole hog on. We're based out of a bowling alley.
It's very clean branding. It's very simple branding, but it's very classic at the same point where it's identifiable to that point. It doesn't need to be complicated.
No, that's the thing. Like, I mean, we've talked about this before. There's some that are like phenomenal, like crazy, wild, different can design, and especially I think for their core beers, that it's just this set kind of like, this is what we're gonna do, and I think it's fine. Like I like it. It's a good style. The Headpin IPA to me is kind of a quintessential like Pacific Northwest West Coast IPA. It's not crystal clear in the color.
No,
but it's just more unfiltered than. It's not hazy. It is unfiltered. If anything,
it's pretty golden caramely. Yeah, I mean it's good. But I'll say is it's definitely an IPA.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's where we get back to the nuances between a Northwest IPA, a West Coast IPA, and they just call it a straight up IPA.
Yeah.
And when you travel, it's the Northwest IPAs are definitely a bit hoppier.
Yeah, I would agree.
You travel and you offer somebody an IPA, and it's a Northwest IPA. They go, "What is this flavor?"
But definitely independent.
Mm-hmm.
Not the head brewer. I think they brought somebody in, but the sales manager, the guy who runs the brewing side of it, is like third or fourth generation, like Moses Lake. The bowling alley is like in his family.
Oh wow!
So like, I don't know how much he was involved. I didn't do that much research because it's just a beer review. But I wonder how much influence he had in kind of the expansion. Like I said, you've seen that whole place kind of grow up over the last 10 years.
Well, I mean, I don't know how well known 10-pin is outside of like our general area. I don't think even on the west side you see it a ton, but when you're on the east side, you see
pretty prevalent
10-pin,
there,
especially because now we're talking like, even though it's in eastern Washington, that's really more central, like
Yes.
central Washington,
Yeah.
that area. You have a handful in Ellensburg, 2 or 3 breweries in Ellensburg.
A whole
Can
bunch
you name?
in Spokane.
Yes,
yeah.
but can you name another brewery besides 10-pin between Ellensburg and Spokane? I know there's a few in Cleellum.
Top Cutter? Where are they based out of?
Yakima. I guess technically you're right. That's
the only one.
I could name. I wasn't thinking Yakima, but I could name a lot from Yakima.
Yeah.
But that's a good point.
I mean, Rainier uses Yakima hops.
Okay, now we're getting into the nuances of whether that's
No?
Washington.
So,
beer.
one of the things that I think stands out for this and kind of is that Pacific Northwest beer. They do talk about it being pleasantly bitter, using resinous, earthy, tropical, and citrus fruit flavors. To me, that's like hitting the key. Like, you've got all the basics of different hop varietals, and then other people just kind of ramp one of those up to make it. And this is just a more like, hey, we're going to touch on each of those. We're not going to like...
It's definitely full body flavor. I mean, it's good, but it's not too bitter. I mean, I mean, again, we are all Pacific Northwesters, so we can handle the hoppy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But so I'm sure somebody else, I mean, might be a little too hoppy, but no, it's well balanced and drinkable.
Yeah.
Well, and it follows the theme.
And you're not, it's not biting your tongue when you're done. It's because it's that bitter, so it's good.
Yeah, so it follows the theme, and that's why I grabbed it. This was my dad's favorite beer over in Central Washington.
Oh, it's when we go to the Dam House.
It's always there.
I'll start with one of these, or like it's like, at whatever time in the morning, late morning, you start with like the Coors or
I don't know what you're talking about.
One of those.
We never open a beer before 5 p.m.
Yeah, but then I always would kind of like. I mean, your dad's very willing, but like I will always sneak one of these into my rotation.
Yeah,
but because we're sitting on a deck in the sun or playing beer pong or doing that, like I'm keeping it to one IPA
Right.
and not.
But I was gonna I'm in that vein. As IPAs go,
Mm-hmm.
they balance the hops good enough that when you are sitting in the pool at the dam house and it's 85 to 90 outside, but the pool's sitting at a nice 70, so you're in a comfortable spot.
Mm-hmm.
There are not a lot of IPAs that you could drink in that hot of weather.
Mm.
That's still
right.
And since this doesn't hit those big bitter notes,
Mm-hmm.
this is much more drinkable at hot temperatures for
As
me.
it warms up, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Which obviously they probably put some thought of when they're brewing it, since obviously they're in Moses.
To
So
live there.
Yeah.
so they get the full 4 seasons. You have the cool spring and falls, but then your winters you have snow and it's cold. The potholes, ice is over, and in the summer it's just hot and windy.
Yep.
And if you're making an IPA, you want something that is drinkable in a wide variety of situations, which I very much appreciate for this beer.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we had some of this. I had one, to Brian's point, one on Friday. Yeah, we were just there. The captain and I were there. So the Dam House, family vacation home, sold, and we were there cleaning everything out this weekend. Yeah, no, it's a shame.
Oh,
In honor of the
Pour
Dam
one
I
out.
House,
know, poor little out there.
we got a little bit left in the can. We're gonna pour a little out. Pour a little out for the Dam House. Here you go, boys.
Man, it's tough to hear. I know, it was a shared vacation home between your family and another. But yeah, you're talking. I mean,
Thanks for the film.
I can't believe already that it's been
Almost 10 years. Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah. No.
To the Dam House.
The Dam House,
absolutely.
yeah. Cheers, man. Yeah, it's that's a lot of memories and a lot of things at a place like that and we only, as the friends of, I go there, I think
I encounter it once a year.
once a year,
Right.
for the most part, but still that's a lot of time spent over there. I know that Leslie and I went over just before or after we got married. We went to Watershed
Yeah.
Yep.
and stayed there.
That was cool.
And drove into the gorge for that. I mean, I think it was kind of that I think
I
It
think
spawned
that
Dude's Weekend.
Dude's Weekend. Yeah.
started the we
And
need to come and do this,
And it
all the
created
time.
the Dam Belt.
Yes,
Yes.
the damn belt that still gets passed around.
Yep.
Which I lost
I
today.
believe it changed hands today.
Did change hands today.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian,
Thanks,
for
Brian.
Yeah.
sleeping in. We
No,
were getting
wait.
the time you were supposed to be here.
Listen, I did forget what time I was supposed to be here. I also thought I was going to be living the bachelor life this weekend. Instead, I was on kid duty. So
Oh,
Those pesky tiny humans.
yeah. But yeah, the damn house of having that space to collectively bring groups together.
Mhm.
I mean, when you think about it, it's your family,
correct.
you, Cam, your parents. I don't think your other brother ever came,
But
but
he was there Friday. He used
No,
it,
but,
not
with
usually-
us.
No, not with us.
He didn't like
And-
he didn't like the heat, so he always goes off cycle to us.
but then always then you're talking about bringing in me and my family. I
Mhm.
think since you guys have had it, me and Leslie have always been together, so she's always been there for the part of that. And then bringing in Chad. I feel like we've had a few other random people kind of pop in at different times, but
Well, my
it's-
wife's side of the family.
Yeah.
we'll bring them over
Your
there. And
sister's been there. when we
yeah,
were
I
at
think
Watershed.
both of them.
I don't know what.
I don't
but
know.
I don't.
It's been a great place to have. It's getting over there, getting into the heat, and jumping in the pool. Man, it's been too many games of beer pong, darts.
Yeah. No, great space. So yeah, shame to lose it. Just kind of
Yeah.
circumstances at the time, but hopefully, it opens the door for future projects that will not be called a compound or a commune or
I know you need
a
a
collective.
I just trademarked that, guys.
Hey,
American Beer Review
guess,
compound.
wait.
boys, it's cool. I ordered a thesaurus on Amazon because I can't say that word anymore. So we'll find a better word for compound.
I thought we were just called the damn cult. No, or the
Well, maybe. Anyways, it was a treat to be always invited at the Dam House
Yeah.
and to be treated to that Bouchaw hospitality every year. And it was also a treat to be able to watch 10 Pin Brewing kind of start out doing what they're doing and
Mhm.
now on their way to world domination.
Because it was literally the same time.
Yeah.
2013, they didn't have even any cans
No,
when we started
It was
going there.
you got it at the tap
Yep.
at the bowling alley.
Yeah.
So, and I found these on this side of the state. So I didn't know we were going there. Like I said, the sale
Oh
was
yeah.
Until Thursday.
yeah, fairly
I
sudden.
got the phone call Thursday night about whether we're going over there.
But these are all the way over here and
Yeah.
in a convenience store.
Yeah.
So not even having to track it down in a bottle shop. So cool to see their growth.
Yeah. Definitely.
We talked about flavor and where you guys
This is a fridge for me.
Yeah.
This is a good solid representation of what a Northwest IPA should be.
I can see. To me, this is like, and maybe it's just because of our connection with it being like drinking in the warmer weather. I could definitely see like grabbing a 6-pack, or if it came in a 12-pack, and kind of like having it just already, having it always there throughout the summer. That's kind of like a nice go-to whenever you feel like you want that type of.
I was going to say, I agree, and I think it's a great 6-pack to have in the fridge for
you
those.
usually do have one in the fridge for most of the summer, right?
Well, once I buy it, I'm never touching it. So
No,
I'm
but
just saying.
Dad's usually got one in your fridge.
No, that's what I was going to say. It's a great boat weather beer.
Yeah, I fridge it as well, especially during the summer and over on the other side of the mountains. So in Moses Lake, Othello was always in the fridge.
Well, it's one of those that like when you're in that area, you know you can get a craft beer. You can still go in and get that local,
Yes.
super local craft beer.
I will say that as we were driving over on Friday night, we called ahead and said, is there beers there? We got the answer. There's starter beers here.
So somebody run down the hill because they
and-
close at 8.
And then we asked,
We'll
when do
be
they
there
close?
at
And so,
9:30.
and then we ordered a teener of teeners, and luckily enough, we got delivered a teener of teeners, which we were not expecting. So we did do the backup and stopped in Ellsberg just so we had a safety net.
Yep.
All right.
Man, now I'm kind of sad. I'm gonna go find another beer to drown my tears in.
Yeah. So cheers again. Our glasses are empty. Hopefully yours are too. We'll catch you next time.
Yeah, I have-
more about it than I do.
And I put an article in the Discord meant I just posted a link and didn't fucking read it.
If you enjoyed what you just heard, like and subscribe, follow on social media at ABR Review, and tell a friend. Send us any suggestions for beers to review, and we'll do our best to track them down and give them a taste.